It's the year 2200. The Earth is dying, and the only remaining option to save our species is to leave. Over the next 200 years, humanity builds fleets of massive ark ships. Competition to secure a spot on the arks was fierce. You had to be skillful, knowledgeable, lucky or rich to be granted a seat in the arks. Those not fortunate enough to be chosen often resorted to violence in a desperate attempt to secure a place on the departing vessels, or sought to destroy them out of spite at being left behind. In the end, carrying everything that's left from humanity, its culture, achievements, history, these ark ships leave Earth in every imaginable direction, hoping to find a new home. In the year 18,000, the Dawn Era begins. Several fleets arrive in the Omega Centauri cluster, where they find hundreds of star systems with thousands of potentially habitable planets. They send out the Green World signal, alerting the remaining fleets that this place may be our new home. Knowing the signal may travel hundreds of years before even reaching anyone else, these new arrivals slowly colonize the discovered worlds, eventually forming interstellar societies, empires, and dominions. Eventually, a slow trickle of fleets lured by the Green World signal starts arriving in the cluster. Often they struggle finding their place in this unfamiliar cluster, and they need to adapt and evolve, like those who came before them, or perish. Due to the distance between the systems, any journey is unpredictable and dangerous. Contact between dominions is rare. Travel and trade is limited and unreliable. Because of this, the dominions grow mostly isolated with very little communication or interaction. This eventually leads to violence. The year 24,000 marks the beginning of the Remnant Era. This part of history is marked by brutal wars. Empires quickly rise to power and equally quickly fall to be forever forgotten. The citizens need to quickly adapt. With the help of genetical engineering and rapid technological progress, they manipulate the evolution to give themselves any imaginable advantage. Over millennia, the descendants of the original colonists splinter into dozens of different species. Collectively, they are called the Celestials. But often these Celestials evolve into beings so bizarre, it's difficult to believe they all once had human origin. As celestial factions expand and fight for dominance, entire star systems get transformed into factories to produce weapons and war machines. This era culminates around year 28,000 in so-called formation wars, and it results in hundreds of habitable worlds in the cluster to be destroyed. During this time, new ark ships continue to arrive, drawn by the Green World signal. Their human inhabitants being thrown into the chaos of celestial wars. Some of them are snatched by the Celestials and delegated to live in the Celestial Empire, if the Celestials think that the humans can provide any advantage in the wars. Others are left to fend for themselves in remote areas of the cluster, hoping to avoid the attention of the Celestials. In the aftermath of the Formation Wars, around the year 30,000, one powerful celestial faction rises to dominance. They are called the Elohim. They make stop to the violence and form the laws of Elohim. Binding both Celestials and humans, these laws are a collection of rules, treaties and agreements meant to prevent the atrocities of the Formation Wars from ever happening again. If any civilization dares to break the laws, they are severely punished. They become completely isolated, all contact is cut off, trade halted. Resources suddenly become scarce. Depending on the crime, the isolation can last decades or even centuries. Once this punishment ends, it takes a long time before a society recovers, if it even survives at all. As important as these laws are, they pale in comparison with the technological marvels of the Elohim. The two most important ones being the Archimedes engines and the Gates of Heaven, both vital in the upcoming golden era of the cluster. An Archimedes engine was able to move an entire planet, stabilize its orbit, control the atmosphere, and terraform an empty world into a new Eden world. These engines created thousands new worlds. Celestial empires expanded, new arcships found empty worlds just waiting for them. But even then, it was the gates of heaven that changed everything. Thanks to the gates, interstellar travel was suddenly viable. Though still bound by the speed of light, ships were able to navigate the cluster using charts and establish routes. The gates also allowed for rapid acceleration and deceleration to and from light speed, significantly reducing the time of each journey. Trade and exploration flourished. Shortly after creating the network of gates, the Elohim vanished. Until today, we do not know what happened to them. Some believe they evolved into beings of pure energy. Some say they simply left to explore the farthest corners of the galaxy. Some claim they are using advanced technology to hide from everyone else, silently watching our every step. But who knows? Maybe they suffered the same fate as many empires before them and collapsed into extinction. We may never know, but the fact remains that even thousands of years later, they continue to shape our lives. The gates are still a cornerstone of interstellar travel, and if anyone breaks the laws, the remaining civilizations still enact the punishment as if it would be done by the Elohim. After their vanishment, in the year 31,080, 6 prominent celestial families formed the Imperial Celestials. They used the gates to travel into the densely populated core of the Centauri cluster, to search new worlds where they would expand their species and spread their culture. They settle 6 adjacent star systems, each house claiming one of them. Together, they sign economic and political treaties and establish a crown dominion. A new war breaks in 35,118 as the Queen of the Keluan system launches a campaign to evolve the Imperial Celestials further. The 5 remaining houses form an alliance, kill the rebellious queen, and distribute the Keluan resources and habitable planets among the 5 houses. The victorious queens sign an imperial accord, further tightening their alliance. They establish the position of the Empress. Each of the queens will take her turn serving as the Dominion's Empress, managing the economic and political situation of the entire empire. After a few thousand years of relative stability, we finally turn our attention to Lydon, our homeworld. Around the year 41,500, a long-lost Arcship arrives to this moon and establishes a colony atop the ruins of a long-gone celestial civilization called the Detenir. However, they are not aware of a great danger threatening their existence. The Archimedes engines are not without fault. Many engines have fallen victim to a technological virus called the Rot, which doomed the planets they were supposed to sustain. Now, the same is about to happen to Lydon, unless we repair Leiden's engine, a task so obvious but at the same time seemingly impossible. Your father, Orion Aslan, embarked on a quest to secure our future. Though originally he was only a simple mercenary, he became a legendary traveler and eventually our hero, our icon. And now, June Aslan, heir to the legendary Orion, it is your turn to continue your father's legacy. Become the traveler, explore the galaxy, save our world. We are counting on you.